So now I'm reading from the Cutting Edge website. This is a news article, a collection of news articles and analysis of events of the past week that basically highlight different things that have happened and looks at things from biblical perspective. So the popularity of astrology, cuttingedge.org, Cutting Edge Ministries. The popularity of astrology / divination is exploding worldwide as people who reject the truth of the Bible earnestly seek answers of the future. Okay, so obviously you go to you look around in movies, TV shows, people are seeking out psychics and mediums to get answers, maybe talk to people that have passed away, that kind of thing. And this is what it's really all about, why astrology matters. The basic premise of astrology is stars and planets exert an influence over events on Earth. So a lot of people, that's how they look at it. They look at this, this tradition of astrology as having answers related to different configurations of planets and constellations and the symbolic significance of the different planets and constellations and different gods and goddesses and how they all affect our daily lives. And people look for information from different sources instead of actually praying to the Most High and the Messiah. So, okay, so, and this is forbidden. These types of activities are forbidden. So when you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim gives you, you should not learn to follow the abominable practices of these nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, like with Moloch, or who uses divination, or is a soothsayer, or an augur, or a sorcerer, or a charmer, or a medium, or a wizard, or a necromancer. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 9 to 11. For that all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahweh. Okay, so they're obviously abominations. So this is not considered to be something to be treated lightly. This is a very serious thing. If Yahweh says something's an abomination, like eating pork is an abomination, it's an abomination, and it should not be done by us. If we're true believers, we're believing in His word, we should not be seeking out psychics. We should not be having our fortunes read, or having a tarot card reading, or going to mediums and being involved in seances and using things like Ouija boards. So consult the medium. When the people, instead of trusting Yahweh, say to you, okay, so it's really more just some commentary. It wasn't like it was commentary for the verse, but so he considers divination and things of that nature to be an abomination. We just need to pray to him for answers. Do not seek out these wicked spirits, elemental spirits that live within these people's minds and souls that are acting as psychics. They're getting information. That's why people seek out psychics. They want information. They want to know if they're choosing the right stock that's going to go through the roof in the stock market and they're going to make millions of dollars or whatever it is. It's not about. That's what a lot of people are looking for. They're trying to talk to their dead ancestor or spouse or whoever. They just want to be able to communicate. So they seek out somebody that has some link to these spirits or demons or entities that give them information, right? So they're opening themselves up. It's not of the Spirit of the Most High. Federal Court of Appeals has ruled that a Catholic medical facility cannot be forced to carry out transgender surgery. Okay. So it's interesting. I mean, it's a good thing in my opinion. So let us examine the role the press is supposed to fulfill in order to carry out this radical cultural change. Okay. So this is about conditioning through conflict brings about change, and planned conflict brings about planned change. These laws, now this is from the protocols, quote unquote, protocols of the learned elders of Zion, which were considered to be fraudulent, but realistically were meant to uh, make out different Jewish groups to be, the most wicked people in the world. And I'm not saying there aren't certain population groups, Sabbatean Frankists, that are from the Jewish world that are wicked to the core. Absolutely. But these protocols of the learned elders of Zion were meant as a type of propaganda to position, to cause people to have extreme anti-Semitism, to hate the Jewish people, to look at the Jewish people as wanting to rule the world, control the world. And these were even looked at by Hitler as another weapon at his disposal to target Jewish people for extermination. Oh wow, well they want to rule us. The Jewish people want to rule the Gentiles, the Goyim, so they need to be exterminated. So it's just, but realistically, in my opinion, these protocols of the learned elders of Zion should be renamed the protocols of the learned elders of Loyola, the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. It's more fitting because they have been in a position where they've tried to implement a world empire or rule the world for centuries at this point. So I think they're really behind that quote unquote propaganda, and I don't think it really is propaganda. I think it's actual truth. So we have been thrust into a situation of insanity, theater of the oppressed, where insanity is considered to be sane, vice versa. Okay, so this is interesting. Biden is caught pretending to be helping Ukraine when in reality he's secretly aiding Russia. U.S. secretly tweaked missile launchers given to Ukraine to keep them from attacking inside Russia. Interesting. There's a lot of really complex politics involved in what's happening in the Ukraine, and I think there's a lot more to it than what people see as just simply a regional conflict. So who knows? See how it all unfolds, but I think that at the very highest levels, these governmental leaders are actually working together to implement a world empire, implement a form of some type of totalitarian regime in the future, and we're all going to be subject to it with the rise of some anti-messiah figure to enslave the masses and rule the world by way of a world empire and a mark of the beast, which could very easily be a microchip implant. We will see, what is outlined in scripture unfold before our very eyes, and this is a huge part of it. Geopolitical risks, all types of wars and rumors of wars is all based on prophecy of the latter days, and we're definitely living in the latter days and seeing these things unfold on a regular basis. So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of very complex things happening behind the scenes, a lot of actors fulfilling their roles. Putin, or Vlad Rasputin, is definitely fulfilling his role in the latter days. Putin is reportedly in trouble in Ukraine and may resort to nuclear weapons. Putin is in quite a bit of trouble politically. So is Yahweh turning Putin's mind toward the plot to lead an alliance of nations against Israel? Ezekiel 38 to 39 being fulfilled in your daily news. Moscow and Tehran moving towards defense partnership. So the relationship between Russia and Iran is becoming a full-scale defense partnership. So, let's see how that unfolds overall. Russia has obviously ordered an attack against Ukraine. So they're working with the Islamic Republic of Iran to defeat Ukraine and then ultimately target other areas. Iran is to be in the list of nations coming against Israel. Persia, Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togar Arma of the North Quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. So why is Russia suddenly turning on its Christian Russian Orthodox Church citizens and persecuting them? Ukraine launches attack on citizens' religious freedom. They're drafting a new law that will ban all churches affiliated with Russia. Interesting. So Vladimir Zelensky may not be worthy of our blank check support. Okay, so he's pressing people, limiting their religious freedom, which is not good. I feel Zelensky is just as compromised as Putin, is just as compromised as Biden and whatever other world leader at this time. They're all just doing their part in implementing a new world order, and the world empire, if you want to call it that. I think a lot of people don't understand this concept of new world order or old world order that's being replaced. I think what makes the most sense is the concept of a world empire, realistically, one that has not existed since the beginning of time. There's been a number of different empires: the Roman Empire, British Empire, ancient Egyptian, Babylonian empires, the present American empire, but realistically, there hasn't been a world empire. So it's this ultimate objective that is being implemented as we speak. So the devil is seizing your house while you are ignorantly playing outside. Oxford County councilors to introduce trial climate lockdown in 2024. Approve plans to lock residents in one of 6 zones to save the planet from. Not really sure what this is about. Like it's So just different lockdown measures, but this plan cannot work unless population is reduced by over 2/3, 66%. Bottom line reality, the map shows areas in which humans can live and where they are forbidden to live. So a future depopulation of the earth is in the cards. Obviously, if the whole objective is to implement a world empire and this forthcoming new world order, this part of the equation is to. The idea is to basically depopulate a good portion of the earth. This whole forthcoming World War III scenario to depopulate the earth and again implement a world empire. Obviously, a lot of people are targeted for destruction in that type of scenario, which is unfortunate. Definitely a biblical situation, a situation which would be a direct fulfillment of ancient prophecy. So this plan is part of the Iron Fist rule of anti-Messiah. The presence of his plan is a sure sign his coming is near, very near. Pandemics also will play a part in preparing for the brutal rain and wait for vaccine. White House is preparing to remove China from the sanctions list. Biden White House set to pull Chinese companies from red flag trade lists. Biden's energy department funnels millions to Beijing-backed green energy companies. Americans veterans give message to young people who want socialism. America's veterans give message to wake up if they think socialism is a good idea. These are veterans of World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War. Veterans delivered that message to a number of different people at a World War II memorial service. Sadly, not enough people are going to be concerned enough to stop this slide into the abyss called socialism to make any difference. Now, not even our toy departments are safe for children. Mattel Toy is now promoting queer ideology through its toys. Okay? Mattel is promoting queer transgender ideology to children through its toys. Interesting. Extremely cold weather over the earth is proving that the climate change scenario is a huge lie. Cold weather records get ignored. Arctic ice is currently at a 30-year high. So China's yuan currency could conceivably overtake America's dollar, the world's safe currency. You know, as I'm going through these, I'm just hitting upon the headlines. There's obviously a lot more information. I'm strongly advising people to look into these articles by the Cutting Edge website. I mean, I've been following this ministry for over 2 decades. I mean, basically 25 years. So I rely on their information. I knew the pastor at one time. I went to the same church. I'm not currently a fundamentalist Christian. I believe in the Messiah, but I embrace the Hebrew roots of the faith and celebrate the ancient Hebrew festivals. So it's a different approach, but I believe we are definitely working hand in hand, fundamentalist Christians and for observant believers in the Messiah. So Arabs are negotiating with China to buy their oil from China using the yuan. So there's a lot of things that are being represented in this scenario. It's really about power and the shifting of power. Basically, the American dollar is the world's reserve currency. It's used most specifically with different things like energy transactions. Specifically, things like oil is denominated in the U.S. dollar. But there's been different shifts in that dynamic over recent periods of time with Russia and China basically switching over to different types of payment approaches. So anyway, it's just really about American dominance versus Chinese dominance versus Russian dominance. It's all these different superpowers trying to wrestle more and more control over the geopolitical realm, if you want to call it that. And it's a shift, a paradigm shift, if anything. The overall process of what's happening in these different areas of the world. The geopolitical scene is on fire right now, realistically. And there's a lot of potential military conflict on the horizon. So these dynamics and the shift in currency transactions and currency dominance and national dominance on the world scene are just part of that bigger picture puzzle, if you want to call it that. So, of note, transactions will be conducted using Chinese yuan rather than US dollars, as we were just discussing. So that's it. And I strongly advise people to actually read these articles. I'm just kind of giving like the kind of highlights, kind of broad brushstroke overview, but getting into the details of these articles is important. So